Greetings, friends. My name is Matt Papich, and I am a doctoral student at Liberty University. I currently possess a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology, and by profession, I am an executive coach and lean specialist. The purpose of today's presentation is to introduce the transformational view of how psychology and Christianity relate to one another and describe how my field of interest, organizational leadership, fits in within this worldview. The transformational view focuses primarily on the process of discovering truth. We begin with certain realities that we may or may not accept as faith, but that ground us to start exploring, refining, and developing our understanding of truth. This process can be shared with others, but this view holds that this is truly a transformative process for the person or psychologist engaging with the process at the level of the individual. This alternative way of viewing psychology contends that all humans universally should first understand the depth of the human condition, physical and metaphysical realities, in order to understand oneself in their relationship to God. These realities then determine or guide the process of learning. Any source of knowledge that can enhance this endeavor, including Christian scripture, other religious writings, ancient sages, empirical science, and philosophy, to name a few, all of these are contemplated in the spirit, or united with the guiding force that is part desire for truth and part truth itself. The primary task of psychology in the transformational view is to do the work of psychology afresh in the spirit, grounded in reality and faith. It is to be done in love of God while contemplating and loving God. As John Coe and Todd Hall state, the core realities and tenets of faith shape the entire process, product, and person doing psychology, meaning that the psychologist in a relationship with God is the product of this transformational process. The reason I felt drawn to this particular worldview, in a general sense, is that it appears not only logical, but correct from my training as a leadership coach. Beginning with human cognition, which is a goal-oriented function, we operate under motivations and goals, implicit and explicit, that guide all of our feelings and actions, or internal and external processes. Since we are all made in God's image, as Genesis states, the level of the individual is the correct level of analysis. We are all called by God to walk the path, guided by the Spirit toward that highest ideal as blamelessly as possible. Other people, even counselors, pastors, our parents, and coaches, can help you, but they cannot do this for you. And lastly, this study of God's reality and our place within it offers a redemptive process that mimics, or perhaps is, Christ's guiding light. We are guided by our commitment to a relationship with God and are forgiven our transgressions by continuing to correct our path. As Coe and Hall state, the spiritual, emotional development of the psychologist is foundational to the process of arriving at deep truths about human nature. This, to me, means that this to me means that this type of study is the process for building a relationship with God. The Spirit is the corrective feedback we receive from God, our conscience, scripture, other people, sages, science, and our motivations, among other places. The Spirit, in a sense, lets us know if we are still walking that path toward God. What role then does leadership and improvement serve in this worldview? When I coach process improvement, I do not allow the team to discuss solutions to their problems or barriers until they have a clearly articulated understanding of their goal or ideal condition for their process. I ask, do we understand what this process is supposed to do before we try to enhance it? One of the biggest wastes in organizations are employees doing too much unnecessary work. This is often because they do not fully understand their direction and what they are actually trying to achieve. The great Roman statesman Seneca stated, "If a sailor knows not what harbor he seeks, any wind is a good wind." Leadership, according to Edgar and Peter Schein, is categorically humbling because it is virtually impossible for an individual to know all of the answers. Instead, the role of the leader is first to be humbly led by the ideal that they submit to. The second role of a leader is to lead others by aligning diverse individual personalities and skill sets toward that higher ideal, asking questions and constantly refining what we know to be true in order to create the best possible way to achieve better. In this sense, organizational leadership and the transformational view fit together like a key in a lock. Organizational leaders help orient the work toward a higher goal or ideal. The highest goal in Christianity is to pursue a divine relationship with God. Great leaders build relationships and align people with that ideal, just as we are to follow Christ's redemptive light. And great leaders are humble, asking questions, constantly in a state of learning instead of a state of knowing, just like Christians are open to the guidance of the Spirit, which keeps us on the path of blamelessness. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope you have a great, blessed day.